But let's get right into it. The Oscars happened. Alan, I want to know what your thoughts are, kind of a debrief. I mean, we're a little late on it because we don't do a show necessarily on Mondays, but I actually think that this was the best that we could hope for. There were definitely far less politics than you would normally see under these circumstances, which I thought that was refreshing. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it did surprise me that that not only did Everything Everywhere All at Once kind of carry everything, but how well All Quiet on the Western Front did, considering you can't see it anywhere except Netflix. Can't go to the movie theaters and see it. I kind of agree with Eric Weber about Netflix really needs to start releasing their films in theaters, and maybe it'll mean something. And by not being in the theaters, I don't know how Netflix plans to ride the wave of All Quiet on the Western Front. But in terms of the ceremony itself, I think you had the numbers. My feelings was that it went up, and I think it is partly because it was a fairly safe ceremony, not a lot of controversy behind it, and and I think that made the watch party much better to watch than the actual ceremony itself.
Exactly. Well, let's look up the ratings for the Oscars. This is from Variety. Oscars draw 18.8 million viewers, up 13% from last year. That's a marked improvement. Let me share a screen for a second, so people can see this. But it was you know what? I think that the excising of the politics, this is like being rewarded for that, right? Like 13%. Okay. They reversed the trend because last year was up and a lot of people were saying it was because of the slap. This year is up. I think it's mainly because of obviously, backing off a little bit on the politics, focusing on, at least two of the movies were widely seen by people. I'll give you a quick. It says update. The 2023 Oscars attracted an average audience of 18.8 total million viewers on Sunday night, pushing the show up 13% from previous year's figures. The ceremony earned a 4.0 rating in the adults 18 to 49 key demo, pushing it to 3-year highs in both total viewers and demo, up 5% since 2020. The telecast outperformed the 2023 Grammys on CBS by 50%, which picked up an audience of 12.5 million total viewers for the February 5th show, and last year's Emmys on NBC by 219%, which brought in an audience of 5.9 million. I mean, award shows as a category of entertainment is just tarnished. I just think that people are not into award shows like they used to be. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, but we talked a little bit about it at the watch party, but back in the 70s, early 80s, there were 3 television events that everybody watched. It was the Super Bowl, the Oscars, and the Miss America pageant. And now it's just the Super Bowl. And I think part of it is the fact that at least the Super Bowl is not predictable. But in this case, we talk about it. It's the quality of films that get nominated. And I'm wondering if, there wasn't a big presence from Avatar and Top Gun. And I'm wondering if there was some mojo behind Everything Everywhere All at Once that brought a bigger audience than we expected.
Right. Also, by the way, my friend Mark Atkinson, he crashed the Neon Party. Remember we brought him in a couple times? He was in Hollywood trying to crash the Oscars. He got into the Neon Party and he sent me a bunch of pictures you can see on his Instagram. I can't believe that, Mark. It's kind of crazy. But look, I think that what Hollywood is realizing, and this is purely because of the data, is that people want to see more mainstream movies get nominated. I just think, or at least win or have a chance to win. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, you talked about it. How many, when you polled everybody, most people said they saw 2 of the Best Picture nominations, and I assume that was Avatar. There's definitely Maverick, and it was probably something other, and possibly Avatar. Other than Tar, I'm struggling to remember what were the other nominees in that category. because we just didn't see it. It's as great as this is the one Eric and I got into, but as great as I thought Tar was, we're gonna forget about it years from now.
Well,
it wasn't a movie that had broad appeal. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think it. Look, I think it's a great performance, and I think it's an excellent script, and I loved a lot about that film. But a lot of the things about this, these movies don't have broad appeal. These are indie movies, and the thing is this: look, my heart is with indie movies, but I recognize that these are not broad appeal films, and at least the Oscars were like 80% movies that most people had seen, and there was like this 20% of smaller films that not as many people had seen, which is kind of our bread and butter. But I recognize like some of those movies break through, like Everything Everywhere and whatnot, but for the most part they don't, or The Whale. And now it's sort of like it's in the reverse. It's 80% movies nobody has heard of, small indie movies, and like a 20% of the movies that a lot of people have heard of.